Hey guys, down here. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. We're trying to get your practice to the $1 million mark. I've been doing some reminiscing lately about trying to find some business tips within my recent vacation to Europe. And I don't know, for some reason this is just the way my brain works. I kind of think about things and I try to relate it to practice and just to life. So I'm going to talk about two kind of interesting experiences. One was our boat experience. So when we were in Lisbon, we kind of made reservations a little bit late, and I was looking for reservations. There were some hotels, and I came upon this idea of staying in a houseboat. Now, either this was going to be a great opportunity or like a horrible flop, because my wife gets seasick really, really easy. And I decided, well, we're just going to stay there for 3 days, so we're gonna do it. So we tried it. And what really made up my mind were the hundreds of 5-star reviews and reviews about this the owner guy that has like these 6 or 7 houseboats that are on the river, and it really shows the importance, I think, of 5-star ratings, because I looked at his website. It didn't really convince me, but it was what people said about it, and so I just want to share the importance that happens in our practice as well. Because what you say on your website is only so much, but what really is important is what other people say. So how can you do that? Well, first of all, you have to get good reviews, okay, and that there has to be a process in place. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. We use something called Patient Education Genius I've talked about before, that it asks for every patient to give a review. I have this review link I send to patients. Our website, when people make an appointment, it automatically sends them something to give a review after the appointment. So there's ways of automating. You need to automate it first of all, okay? And then you have to use them. So this is another thing, like not just expecting patient to go to like Google Maps or your Google posting and look at the reviews, but you can then copy them and paste them and put them on your website. I think that's probably the easiest. There are some kind of high-tech methods where you can have it like automatically update with your reviews, but a real easy thing is just put abundant reviews. So as I'm redoing our website, under each doctor profile, I'm taking reviews from that doctor and then putting them there with the patient's name, just the first name and last initial. So you can use those, just copy and paste them there. That's one way of doing it. Another way to do it is in an email, kind of send out, when you're doing your weekly email, which I think everyone should be doing, in your newsletter, put some reviews in there, because patients like to hear what other people say about your practice. It really builds confidence. And then different areas, try to get specific reviews to what you're talking about or what you're wanting to promote. So for example, if there's a page on Swift Laser, try to look in your reviews, and you can within Google reviews, you can look up like Swift or warts, and you can put that in there and you can get a review specific to that, or you can actually try to curate that for a patient, like a patient would write a review after they've had a good experience. Or even better than a review would be to get a patient testimonial. This is something that's pretty easy to do these days with a cell phone. So after a patient has a good experience, I'll just whip up my cell phone and I'll do a YouTube short. So less than 1 minute, so it's easy to record. And then I have a consent that they sign as they're leaving. So they just leave, and I can put that on the YouTube, and then I can take those and I can put those on that section of the website or that you're wanting to promote that topic. Okay, so those are a couple of ways. So that was one of the lessons, was like the importance of reviews, and those are some tips of using reviews. The other lesson I learned is in Europe, they all kind of smoke a lot. So I'm sorry if you do smoke. Actually, I'm not sorry. You should stop smoking. But in Europe, they do a lot of smoking, and they had these vending machines, right, that you could buy cigarettes. That was kind of cool. And there was like smoking rooms in the airport. So these were a couple of things that were kind of detrimental to people's health, but they kept on doing it. And I think if you can equate this, is that there are certain habits that we have and customs that we have that are really detrimental. I was talking to a patient or doctor recently, and he is still plaster casting his patients. And even though when he sends it to the lab, they still scan his plaster cast with the 3D scanner. And so these things are kind of die hard, but like think in your practice, what are kind of things that you're doing that you're just doing because you're doing? So for example, plaster casting, things that waste time, doing what's killing your practice. So I think some of the mistakes that I made, where I wanted to keep doing everything, and I felt like obliged to do all this routine care stuff. So what I did is I still do it, but I only restricted it to 1 day, and now I only restrict it to a half day. And then now I'm finding a medical assistant or a nail tech that can do it for me. So kind of getting rid of things that you maybe don't have to focus on, things that are not your largest check. So things that aren't producing in the biggest revenue. Another thing is like putting everything on your website just because. Like you don't need to put everything on your website. If you only want to do orthotics, Shockwave, and Swift, you only put those things, or you focus on those things to not distract people. If they want to come in for other things, they can come in for them, but you're going to focus on what you want to see. So I think that's an important thing. Another thing that can kind of kill your practice, I think, is the stress from doing notes. This is just my opinion. I personally don't enjoy writing my own notes, and it took me a long time to make this change. So if you have, kudos to you. If you haven't, I think it's what can bring you. A lot of doctors I talk to brings them from 800 to like the $1 million mark if you're trying to get to the $1 million mark. But finding someone to be a scribe. Now, I want to be clear, it's not easy. You have to train them. You may have to train 2 or 3 of them before you find the right person. But having a scribe, whether it be in person or virtual, like mine is, it just really kind of frees you up in thinking you always have to do notes just because you're good at the notes. Because I'm very good. I was very good. I made the templates. I was fast typer. But it's just been like 10 times better now that I don't have to do that. So that's another thing that sometimes can kill your practice. And then finally, not using like real simple things to almost make you do what's the right thing for the patient and what's most profitable. So specifically what I mean to that is something called treatment sheets. These are things that I've kind of developed. They're 1-page sheets. They just talk about like the process for treating plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis. And it goes through and has everything that they need to do along with some educational resources. And like something like this really, really helps your practice. And it's kind of like evergreen. You can use the thing forever. And if you change your practice style, you can just change that Word document. If you want to see mine, you can go to patientpresentations.com. And in the top corner, right-hand corner of all my presentations, there's something called the treatment sheet. So I click that and I print it out. Usually nowadays what I do is I have my staff, they just print it out for me. So I'm not really printing it, but it's there. I'm going through it. They're getting something, and it has a lot of things specifically of like how I treat things. You might treat it different, so you can just make your own, copy and paste it. But like those are methods of like, you don't want to stay in like the old-fashioned age of just talking to patients and not giving them anything because they're not going to remember. And it's going to be, you're just going to do random types of treatments. If it's written down in this treatment sheet, you're going to kind of go in order. It has the higher revenue things focused on in there, and it has, I put a little QR code with a video so they can watch a video or at least go to a web page, a blog post with the information that'll just reinforce things for the patient. So those are some ideas. If you are interested in like these ideas, shoot me an email, or if you want to get more help, let me know. There's stuff on podiatrypracticemastery.com. Been having fun with a small group coaching with like a WhatsApp group where we kind of help each other. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. Thanks.